Welcome back to Minding Our Businesses, where CEO
and COO sisters
share unfiltered conversation about running 3 companies together and the real life between it all. Holly Daniels Christensen is the founder and CEO of Dune Jewelry, a 12-year-old experiential jewelry brand based in Massachusetts. Holly manages 30 full-time employees and has a thriving e-commerce platform. Dune Jewelry also ships to over 600 retail partners worldwide. And on top of it all, Holly is not only a wife, but a mom to 2 beautiful girls, 9 and 10 years old. So, the next episode, we welcome our beautiful friend and guest, Holly Daniels Christensen,
the
CEO and founder of Dune Jewelry. And today we are talking about being a working mom and, in association with that, mom guilt. So, Holly, welcome.
Thank you.
We love you
Dog,
so much.
Dog moms included.
Sorry,
girls.
Yeah, dog moms
Absolutely.
too. Dog
Thank
moms
you.
too.
Thank
And
you.
aunties.
Yeah.
Holly, why don't you start by introducing yourself to our audience and letting them know a little bit about your brand and, your life.
Thank you guys for having me. I am Holly Christensen. I'm the founder and CEO of Dune Jewelry. We create experiential jewelry, which means that we take sand and earth elements from thousands of locations all over the world, and we craft it into heirloom quality jewelry that you can hold on to forever.
So cool.
It's such and that's like, you own that concept. Like, that is Dune Jewelry's concept.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
that's
one else
so
does
cool.
that.
So not only are you this incredible CEO and my friend and someone we've worked with in Parlor Brand Studio, we created the new Dune Jewelry brand, but you're also a mom. You have 2 beautiful girls, and they're 9 and 10 years old, and my girls are going to be a year apart too. So I love that.
And they're hilarious.
They're so cute.
It's incredible. I'm so lucky that I have 2 girls that, and of course they do fight, but they get along really well. They're best friends, even though they'll not admit it at this age.
They're going to be so ridiculously close.
So close.
What are their birthdays? What are their signs?
Lila is September 2nd. So she is a Virgo of all Virgos, very critical, very, to me too, Mom, you've got to do it like this. Why are you doing it like this?
Oh boy.
And she's the wild one. She's 9. Lex is 10, and she's an Aquarius. She's February 1st.
She goes with the flow. So the topic today is being a working mom. And, I accumulated some fan questions on this topic. It's something a lot of people ask me about, and also mom guilt. So I thought we could kind of start by talking a little bit about what mom guilt is. Personally, for me, I didn't think I would suffer from mom guilt. I kind of thought that I guess I'd say my ego crept in. I thought I was above it. I have found that I have suffered from serious mom guilt, on a really deep level. So do you want to start by kind of giving your definition of mom guilt in being a working mom?
Yeah, I think, the interesting thing is I identify immediately with working mom guilt, but there's other types of mom guilt. There is aggression. There is the need or want to flee, to just walk away, exit the situation.
Good point.
There's preferential treatment of children. That's super something that I don't think that I experience. But of course, you guys know, because you have multiple siblings. I'm an only child.
Yeah, I'm definitely my mom's favorite.
That's not true. Michael is fully her favorite.
Yeah, I'm her favorite.
It's not true.
The fact that you guys are fighting about it means your mom did a great job at not having a favorite child.
I didn't even say it was me. I said it was my brother.
I know.
I just want to be very clear.
So I would agree if Michael is proper, because he's the baby.
He's the baby.
Yeah. Very natural.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all these different kinds of mom guilt that can be experienced in so many different levels, and some are really scary, and some are a little bit more manageable. They're all manageable, but I, for one, definitely suffer from working mom guilt.
But probably you guys feel like you don't give enough time to your kids, maybe because when you're with them, you're feeling guilty that you're not consistently paying attention. Cause if you get a phone call or you get a phone call where something's not happening and you're actually at the point where you're having the time with your kids and you can't give them that probably gets to you.
Yeah. That's where CEO and mom comes in, because before my babies came around, I had another baby, which was my business. And my business is 3 of them. And as I get older and my businesses get older, they require, I find, sometimes a little bit more from me. You know, it's funny, like being a small business owner, I would say that we're still small business owners in a lot of ways. Like, you know, you could define a business as, if you own a business, you could walk away from it and like it would still run. I definitely don't have that kind of business 100%. Like it still needs me. And sometimes when I'm with my baby, I do have to pick up the phone.
Right.
I really respect your response though of like the different types of mom guilt, because that is true. And I really resonate with that. Like I tend to want to give her all of me when I'm not at work, but I do find that like I get guilt being on my phone sometimes. And then I have to remind myself, like, I'm just human. You know, sometimes I can just like want to be on Instagram and not play with a stuffed animal, you know?
Absolutely.
No, literally when I watch Lily, I get guilty. I'm like, was I just watching my phone for too long?
Well, I did watch you on the Nanette one night and you were on your phone when you were watching Lily.
Okay. Can you watch me on the Nana and her?
Oh yeah. I fully watched you on your phone when you were putting her to bed one night. So I know exactly the moment you're talking about. I mean, I'm a full psycho when it comes to my child.
But I think it's fine. It's fine.
I think there's a lot of, well, first of all, guilt transpiring or evolving into shame, right?
Yes.
And that is not good.
Every
it's
time
not
I
good
think of that word.
Well,
shame.
I know.
Think of Game of Thrones.
Shame. I know.
Shame.
I know.
Every time someone says shame, I'm like, oh, shame.
You know, guilt is, first of all, guilt is natural. We all feel it. Even the people that you think don't, 100% do. And maybe they define it differently. Maybe they don't use the word guilt or shame or.
Yeah, that's true. It is very true. I think that one thing I'd like to kind of turn this conversation to is like why you're a working mom too, like, and why I am. And, you know, like, I know you have dogs right now and don't have children, but I think that there's some similarities there as well.
But I think also too, if you're thinking about having children, like getting something like a dog first and like,
definitely
getting used to like the puppy age. Oh my God.
Or a pet of some sort.
Yeah. I think it really helps you like get in the mindset of like knowing what, obviously it's not the same at all, but
no, that's not true. It's very similar.
But I think just getting in the mindset of like getting used to it and like knowing like,
well, taking care of a live animal or live being with your partner shows you things about your partner, but it also shows you like, you know, how to take care of something.
And I'm an overbearing dog mom. I would just like to state.
Are you? Like helicopter?
She's intense.
No, it's like really bad.
She worries a lot about her dogs.
About the dogs?
I just like, I've had 2 bad experiences when I first got them.
Yeah, no, she did have
one had parvo, one
ringer.
had seizures, literally both of them. And I just like, I'm always on edge. Not anymore, but like every time.
Oh yeah, no, not anymore.
No, like if they eat a plant that's toxic, I'm worried. But that's just in my nature.
Fair.
That's just how I am. That's just how I am. Like, and I think it's okay.
Well, like I am proud also, you know, while sometimes I feel guilty in the middle of my work day, I leave for work. And I put Lily in good hands and good care. And I do remove myself from that role of my life and I submerge myself in work.
Yeah.
And I really do forget, sort of.
Can I say too that it's important to be away from your child?
I agree.
Firmly.
I agree.
Agree with that. My mother-in-law said to me, and she ran a daycare for 30 years. God bless her soul. And she said, like the second, because I breastfed Lexa for the first 6 months, but she was like, here's your pumping machine, pump me some milk, put it in a bottle.
I love her.
Right now. And it was like days after I was home from the hospital. I'm like, but we're doing good. Everything's good. And she was like, absolutely not, because you need to be able to hand her to me and go do whatever you have to do. She's like, because when you go back to work, she was the one who took care of.
But I love that. Our parents
she was your caretaker.
Our parents were super independent, which made us super independent too.
Well, I will say, like, when we make the choice to work, I think one thing that's important is exactly what you just said, is who you're leaving your baby in the hands of.
Absolutely.
You know, like I do think you need to be, you can't feel like you're working for nothing too. Like you can't feel like you're working just for childcare. So like, I think some people, like you have to do your research on like the right daycare and like put the time and effort in or private care. I'm going through that right now, like trying to figure out who's the right person to take care of my baby all the time. You know, I've been lucky to have my mom, and you're lucky to have your mother-in-law, but I will agree like with your mother-in-law that give me the breast milk and I will help you. And I agree. It is important to leave your baby. You miss them.
I'm sure the first one, it's probably harder.
Yeah, I don't know if it gets easier.
At first.
Yeah.
I think that first week when you leave your baby, you're like,
yeah, I'm a terrible human being.
Yeah, I cried a lot that week.
Yeah.
That was a hard week. Well, you just like pushed a child out of you, and then you're like, or cut out, or whatever that the path was for you, and then they're like, okay, you're attached to this thing for how many months, and then another 3 months after that, and then it's like, go back to work. That's hard. It's
very hard. I mean, it's very difficult in the beginning, but like anything, and especially women are so resilient, not to break it down to just women, but women are so resilient. We're so adaptable when we need to be.
Women are the ones having the babies. So I think in this situation,
fair.
it's pretty
I know. I'm
pretty valid. It is women.
Like, no offense, guys.
We love our men.
But absolutely. But we're so adaptable. And I think, after that initial shock, which really it is, and it's physiological too. It's not just mental.
100%.
I mean, your bodies were connected for close to 10 months. And so I think that it gets easier and easier, but you have to know why you're doing it. It has to be a good reason.
Totally. The purpose of it. Mm-hmm. Well, that I think is the perfect segue is like why I work. So yeah, like I have a business, but I having kids like has made me think, or having a child at this time, when this goes live, I'll probably have had another. Well, no, I definitely will have had another. I could not keep her in me any longer. But like I also love that my daughter sees me work. I think that that's important. She sees me have purpose.
Wait until you start having real, not real. You're having real conversation. Wait until she can answer you back.
Oh no, I understand what you're saying.
Because it's a whole different ballgame. I have kept it so wide open with my children.
I love that.
I will say to them.
That's how our parents were too.
It's important. I never did the baby talk. I never did ever since they were little, I was speaking to them and talking to them as almost as peers.
Me too.
Not in an unhealthy way though. I have heard some moms really kind of overshare too much, but like just treating them as
people.
No, instead of you know what? That is so valid. And I swear to God, that's why part of like my key to success is I was trusted in that way. Leland is, who's one of my best friends, but also, a very long time director at this company. I had the privilege of watching her become a mother and watch her parenting style. And that is actually the number one thing I took away from her. It was never like, no, or like baby talk. It was always like,
I hated that.
She's always treats her child with respect and they're just co-living.
She's actually unlike any mother I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like,
she's incredible.
I bet
she's incredible.
You talk about, like, I always, when I watch her with her kids, I'm like, am I going to be able to be like that?
She's real. I go to her.
She's super patient. Like, she doesn't get aggravated. She just kind of makes them feel normal. I love it.
I was thinking the other day, knowing I was coming here, and I was like, I hope no one asks me how to deal with a temper tantrum, because honest to God, my girls never tantrumed. When they were infants, of course they did, because they couldn't express to me what they needed. As soon as they were able to speak and we could have some sort of semblance of conversation, they never were. I mean, I never had that moment of them throwing themselves on a floor in the grocery store having a tantrum.
Well, I have to say, I think that goes directly hand in hand with what you just said before, though. And that's your parenting style. I mean, listen, I'm not going on this podcast saying that I know everything. I have a 1-year-old.
Absolutely not.
There's a million ways to do things, but
everyone's different.
I don't resist my child. I don't resist her behavior. So like for me, I'm not like, I don't try to change her. I try to live with her. That's what Leland taught me for sure. And that's what my mom did with us. Like, it's just, of course, there's punishment.
You allow them to be who they are.
Yeah. Well, like even in her youngest stage right now at 1 year old, like if she, like I've talked about this before, wants to throw food, or if she doesn't want to eat, I don't make
force
her.
it.
Yeah. I'm like, let's go with the flow, honey.
Yeah. There's something to be said. I was thinking back when I was reading all of the parenting books, and they're talking about a birth plan.
Oh my God. I think the birth plan is, I have opinions on the birth plan.
I do too. So I was like, I'm reading and I'm like, birth plan. And I'm writing down my birth plan. I'm like, this is ridiculous for me. Because
I think it's ridiculous in general.
Okay. The minute you go,
We're gonna have to go and say
I know.
it's just
Sometimes
ridiculous.
I'll be PC in this situation. I'll say, I think you're setting yourself up for failure.
I think you are starting your parental journey. I'm getting goosebumps right now because you're starting your parental journey. You're one of the biggest or the biggest moment of your life. You're just setting yourself up for a complete disappointment.
You can't plan that.
You have no control over your body. You don't, no matter how much you prepare, you breathe, you read, you prepare, you write it down, you manifest. And I am a big believer in manifestation. You don't know what's going to happen in that moment.
Well, so, okay, let's break
also,
that
don't
down.
we want to cross the bridge when we get there?
Well, no, I think I have some feelings on this topic that I've had for quite some time. So first of all, I
Let it out.
I believe fully in manifestation. So like every morning I visualize what I want my birth to look like. I envision what I know my pushing will be like. Have had dreams about it.
But that's for your mindset.
That is, I'm feeding my mindset, but I also, part of meditation is not having attachment.
Right.
So like I manifest those things and I think about the way that I envision that happening for me. But it's also funny in light of what you said about not having control of your body. Before I had Lily, I thought I could never push. I didn't think that my body could do that.
Really?
I thought I was going to have a C-section and I actually had wanted that. And I would say out loud many, many, many times, I want a C-section. Just, I just thought what I thought. And then
That's actually super weird of you now that I think about it.
it is weird of me.
I know.
And then I pushed and I did it. It was the greatest achievement of my life. So I think to your point,
Yeah.
you don't have control of your body. But I also just want to point out something else that you said, because I don't want to offend anyone who does have a birth plan. I think that there is medical preferences. Like you need to know what you're comfortable with.
sure.
Like if you don't want the eye ointment, I'm not disrespecting you at all. Or if you don't want to vaccinate, that's your choice. That's not what I'm talking about here. I think it's more like saying, this is how I want to give birth. And if I don't, I'm going to be really
disappointed.
upset. Yes.
At the end of the day, and it might sound cliche, like just
flow
and be so happy that you have a healthy baby.
Yes.
Or that you are able to deliver a child. I mean, that's
or just a baby.
Yeah,
a baby.
Exactly.
A baby. You just have a baby, even if there's health problems. Like you're blessed. It's you're in your situation,
no
and it's
matter
beautiful.
what. Yeah,
Were you
I
gonna
agree
say
with
something?
that.
I am wondering too, like after you have the child, right? Because we have the child now.
We do. We have the child.
We're
Yes,
staring
got the baby.
How do you guys deal with the mental load of it all? I think that's something people really like, regardless of if you're a business owner, even if you just have a full-time job, people find that hard to balance both.
That's a multifaceted question, right? Because that's a big one.
Give me a multifaceted answer, ma'am.
Well, you think of, I didn't experience severe postpartum.
Some people do, yeah.
And some people do. So I can easily sit here and be like, chill out, relax for those first few weeks, get to know your baby, do the skin on skin, do all those special moments. And again, let go of expectations and flow. But I don't have the knowledge or experience to say, what does it feel like to a mom who works so hard to have this child, and then her mental
Hormones
state
crash.
Her hormones crash.
Well, that's chemical.
And it is. That
is postpartum is chemical
for sure. But all of it needs to be, no matter how you're feeling, you need to know that it's natural and you're going to get through it and it's going to be okay. And so from my experience, I think mentally, I was taking day by day. It was not, I let go of all expectations.
Day by day. Do you know that Meet the Parents scene?
Yes.
When he gives the speech at the table and he's like, day by day.
No.
I love Meet the Parents.
I'm blanking. I love Meet the Parents.
You're gonna
I'm blanking
You
on
have
it.
to go look.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite scenes of any movie. Okay, so regarding, this is obviously such a widespread topic we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So if you experience postpartum, I also did not experience that, or the hair loss or those different aspects. I fully respect you.
My hair falls out at any given,
really?
all of a sudden. Yeah.
I mean, that's a pain in the ass.
Different.
My friend dealt with that too. I fully respect you because one of my best friends dealt with it and I don't think she thought she would. And you have to respect that journey for yourself. I think the point that you're making is in motherhood and like with mom guilt and with being a working mom or not a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, sometimes you have to let go of your expectations. Yeah. Sometimes the day won't be perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like 100%. You have to just like, you have to just not, sometimes your sink's going to be full and sometimes, you know, the house is going to be messy and sometimes the baby's going to shit themselves and sometimes
everywhere.
The poop's going to get on you. And, you know, it's not, you don't search for the utopian viewpoint of motherhood, just flow, I think is the point, and don't resist whether you're experiencing postpartum or not. But Carly, to your question of how do you deal with it all, for me, my answer is I have to carve out time for me. Like, and that, you know, that's a theme.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that was going to be your answer.
Well, people are like, how do you wake up at 4:30? It's not that I want to wake up at 4:30. I don't want to. I need to. Like, I need time alone. And I don't feel guilty for that time. Like, I don't feel time for, like, when I get a manicure, pedicure, or a massage, I actually never feel guilty during self-care time. That's a weird loophole for me.
It's not a weird loophole. I think it's so important. And
I agree.
I think you need to continue kind of screaming that from the rooftops, because I was speaking with actually Sheena Melwani, and we were talking, and I was we were talking about the fact that I have someone come in on Fridays and do my laundry.
Yeah,
as you should.
And it took me kind of having lunch with her and chatting about being moms to feel okay about that, which is insane that I feel weird telling people I have someone help me with my laundry. And that's ridiculous. I should feel comfortable and confident and really, you know.
You definitely should.
That's a really, really valid point. And like, I have a cleaning crew that comes to my house of women that I love once a week. I need that to feel sane and be a working mom.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's not. I think sometimes you feel like I think there's a lot of judgment in motherhood. And I think that's like kind of the point. It's like, you could judge someone who's going through postpartum. You could judge someone who has a birth plan. You could judge someone who doesn't. Like, there's so many ways.
We're all different.
There's no right or wrong. Yeah. But I would agree with you that like you have to sort of get in touch with what works for you as a mom and what makes you okay with it all. Like, for me, I need help. I know I need help.
Absolutely. The other thing is knowing your family and what their touch points are, what their, again, it may sound unreasonable, but knowing what their love language is.
We literally just had a whole podcast talking about that.
Did you really?
Yes.
Because for me, I know for a fact, if my husband and children at this point in our lives, if they don't have something for dinner, which I know drives a lot of women crazy, like, oh, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? If they don't have it, they don't feel, quote unquote, loved. They don't feel taken care of. For them, being fed and comfortable in the evening when I may have to work till 7 or 8 o'clock. This is why I'm intimately connected to my crock pot. I'm like,
well, it works on it. You delegate to your crock pot.
I do.
You're like, crock pot, do your thing. I will be at work till 8.
I'm not a crock pot cook, ladies. I can't do it.
Listen, you need the right recipes.
I do too. I need the right recipes because I don't have them.
They're not all like creamy, gross. No, I like vegetarian chili and chicken noodle soup and
I like that.
Tacos and Mexican. Like, there's all these things you can do that are super healthy, super nourishing, and I think that's what it boils down. For my husband, he's like, well, I don't know how to cook. You always did it, which I did because that's my love language. I love to feed people. Yeah, I love it, and so. After much trial and error, I realized that if I hit that one touch point almost every day, say 5 to 7 nights a week, we are in lockstep. We are happy. We are harmonious. The family is done. Like, everyone's great.
Well, I think it's like
it's a key to your success.
Yeah, but it's also a time.
It is.
It is the key to it.
I believe it.
It's the key to a happy marriage.
It's a time for your family to be together because obviously the hustle and bustle of business takes a lot of attention. So this one moment, this one touch point that you always have together, I feel like we always had dinner when we were younger together.
We did always have dinner as a family.
And I love that.
Well, I think being a working mom, you have to find those moments of connection. And I think like one thing you said earlier is like, it's important to leave your baby. That's something my mom has instilled in me because sometimes I'll look at her and be like, oh my God, am I the worst? She's like, Rachel, your time you spend with your daughter and soon to be daughters is going to be so much deeper and more valuable because you leave and you're passionate and you're excited. And that's nothing against stay-at-home moms either, because, you know, everybody's doing their own thing, doing the way that they love to do it. Like, we shouldn't judge each other. But like, for me personally, I like to leave and I like to have that separation, and that's how I let go of that guilt.
I'm
know?
just laughing at the stages of life right now in my head, because I'm thinking when they turn 16, they're gonna be like, "Don't even look at me," which is
I don't
so
know
funny.
I don't want that to happen.
You're touching on something so important, because I was thinking about the fact that this is a short time, right?
Yeah.
Like, and people tell me all the time, you wait, pretty soon your girls are they're not even gonna want to hang out with you. And I'm like,
I hate when people say that
I
in
don't-
motherhood.
No, I'm sorry.
Just
I don't
wait.
mean that
but-
they're not. I always wanted to hang out with mom, but it's just like I was like
No,
at the mall with my
That's a mom
friends.
thing
Yeah.
moms do to other moms. They're like, just wait. I'm like, just wait for, like, let me
Yeah.
just get there. And maybe my experience isn't yours.
I know.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm more laughing
Oh,
at
I
that.
wasn't shitting on you.
No, I'm just saying I'm more laughing at the fact that, like, the stages of life, like being someone's child versus like how you talk about your child. It's just funny.
What were you going
Yes.
to say, Holly?
Eric makes fun of us, me and Lex particularly, all the time, because when we're very lucky that I get up, I get them off to school every morning when I'm not traveling for work. He has them in the afternoon. I put them to bed. So we definitely have a good routine. I'm lucky to have a supportive partner, because that's another
Does he
thing.
work from home?
No, he works. He works for the commuter rail, so he is up and out at like
right,
5:30
right.
a.m. done by 3:30, which is
That's a nice.
So do you communicate
Schedule.
every
Amazing.
single day on what the day with the girls is going to look like?
No, we're in such a routine
You're in a
now.
flow.
But when he gets them in the afternoon, Lex will be like, "Oh, and this happened and that happened," and he's like, "What do you and mom like sit in the morning and have coffee together? Like, what do you guys do?"
I like that.
And he's like, you tell them everything again in a healthy way
With boundaries.
with boundaries. But he's like, you guys are like besties. And I know there's also this thing with motherhood, like you need to be their parent, not their friend.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I'm like, it's not like I'm dishing to her on like gossip and stuff. We're talking about the quiz she has on Friday, and we're talking about Lila being a maniac, and and
You're
we're talking about
appropriate.
gymnastics and right.
I'm not
think
like
good-
swearing.
It's good to be their friend.
Well, no, like, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm definitely swearing. Excuse me. I mean, I'm not saying things that are like
yeah.
inappropriate.
No. And I think there's a misconception that you can still discipline your children. Okay. What about this? Is it mutual respect or discipline? My girls and I have
That was deep, Holly.
well, that's where I'm going.
I think it's mutual respect.
We have a mutual respect
I like
for each
that.
other. And do you know that it's crazy? My kids have been punished like 4 times in their lives,
Wow.
which there's so many people that I shouldn't assume, but I feel like there are probably people out there that are like, well, then, you're not parenting, or you're not. It's just a different style of parenting.
Right.
It's sitting down, it's talking about it. It's all right, let's breathe. Actually, you know what? I just lied, because Lila did used to get timeouts. Lex has not been
Well, it
punished
honestly
very
depends.
often.
It depends on the
kid.
demeanor of the child.
Yeah. Carly
I
can
was
attest
always
to
in
that.
trouble. I say trouble a lot.
You do say twubble a
So
lot.
cute, though.
All right, so let's go back to, we're CEOs, we're working moms. Do your girls pick up on the fact that you're like, what do they think about you working?
Absolutely. We talk about it all the time.
I'm sorry, have you seen them working her cash register?
I
Yeah,
sure
thanks.
have.
Lila's like, hi, this will be $950.
Oh, no, she's intense.
I'm like,
when
that's not
she's-
what the tag
No,
says, Lila.
I think
Yeah.
wasn't it Lex at the register?
No, but
Or
she
is
did
that
this.
Lila?
They both were.
They both
yeah.
did the same thing.
They both were.
Well, we worked our parents' registers too.
I love it.
Why do you think that's important for them, and what do you think they've learned from that?
I think that they have learned, they don't understand that it's respect, but they've learned to respect a working woman right off the bat. And they see the multitasking, which I do multitask, but I do it in a way that it works. Like, the crock pot and having a conversation, because the crock pot's mindless, and I'm having a great conversation
for
with Lex
you.
in the
I love
morning.
that.
Or I think that they have learned things at this age that they do and don't want to do. They're not super work focused like me at this point. Like Lila wants to be a dog walker and Lex wants to live in a barn with horses.
I love that.
They both want to be gold medal gymnasts. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, great.
But when I look, instead of trying to verbalize what they're learning from me, when I look at their commitment to gymnastics, it's obvious they're seeing my commitment to my profession and my business.
They're mimicking your behavior.
And they're mimicking
definitely.
my behavior in their gymnastics.
Because I don't think
that is a form of parenting.
I don't think they're correlating, this is mom's work. And honestly, you're lucky you're passionate about where you work and your business. So they're turning that into like passion for other things as well. So I think that's super important.
I think passion's a key word here too, because like I'm sure some women who, moms who have mom guilt who work, or even, anyone who's a parent that experiences guilt like this.
And if they hate their job.
That's what I was going to get at is like, if you don't like your job or if you dread it, I would imagine that is very difficult for you. I do like my job. Yeah. And so for me, when I leave, it is a form of not escape, but it is a form of therapy.
Well, we're lucky.
So I would say like if that you're someone that doesn't like it, you can always find a new job. Like and don't ever feel trapped. Like you should. I think people should chase their passion.
Absolutely.
For sure.
You have to remember yourself and remember yourself beyond motherhood.
Yes.
Who were you before you were a mother?
Yeah.
Like if you're defining yourself completely based on being a parent, I think it's dangerous. I think it's fine if that's your choice, but I think it's very, very dangerous because number one, you cannot control your children come out of you pre-programmed.
Yeah, they are who they are.
They are who they are. There is
nature versus nurture.
Absolutely. And so if you have, you're having children and they're going to be doctors. All 5 of them, all doctors, right?
I hate that.
And that is your dream, and that is your passion, and that is what you want for your children, and that is what you are goaling for from day one. You're going to be sorely disappointed. It's very
and so
rare.
will the child,
and
probably.
So will, yeah,
but it's also like they can never live up to your expectations too. Like,
no.
I also don't want to choose what my child wants to do in this world. I want them to come to that on their own.
Yeah.
I want them to be happy.
Yeah.
How many people do you know who like went through law school or like, to become a doctor and then they like didn't want to do it and they're like, because my mom or my dad wanted me to do that. Like that's not, I want my child to take away or my children to take away from me that I do what I do because I love it.
Yes.
That's the other thing. It's not go be a business owner. I don't believe in go be a business owner.
I know you don't.
That's like, I don't think everyone should own a
one.
business. I think it's acquired taste and an acquired skill. And if you don't know how to do it, I think you're going to have an uphill battle your whole life trying to do it. So it's like, no, I'm not going to tell Lily or future baby to do those things. I'm going to say, follow what makes you tick.
Yeah. And we came from a long line of entrepreneurs. We were never told to be that.
No, definitely not.
I think it circles all the way back to let go of your expectations. Let go of expectations in so many facets. And I'm not saying don't have goals, don't have dreams. I mean, that's what my life is built on is goals and dreams. But if you expect a specific outcome, that your happiness factor is just going to slowly.
If you're attached to a specific outcome.
Yeah. Yes.
I think is it too. Like and that's the theme of almost everything we've covered thus far.
Yeah.
If you're attached to how the day is going to go, or if you have too many expectations of the way this will be, that will be, or if you're too attached to the aesthetic of it all, you may find disappointment at some point in your motherhood journey.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, how do you guys not carry work stress like into your home then? Because
it's a good question.
This is a great question. I think I have gone through stages that, and I've never really talked about this, where I was having a very difficult time coming off that go, and then coming into the house and being able to have that calm conversation where I'm not the boss, we're a family unit. I was coming in and I was doing the mom thing of having a glass of wine, having a cocktail after work, and literally using that, not in a healthy way, to bring myself down a notch and be able to enjoy the family, to forget the rest of what happened that day and
it's not really coping.
And focus on them. And that is not in my opinion, not the way to do it. I'm sure some people do it successfully, and
Well, it's not
fine.
what you want for you.
It's not what I want for me. And I'm happy that I recognize that, because also I don't want my kids seeing me. I personally don't want my kids seeing me pour a glass of wine every day after work, having to cope with my day and thinking that I need that to be with them.
Yeah.
And I think it's something very common.
How do you change that?
I just, for me, I just have to recognize the behavior, find a different form of relaxation before I walk into the house, and then come in and give them my energy. So I will, if I need to, it's not every day that I feel this way, but if I am amped up and there was just a lot of responsibility, it's very heavy to be responsible for 30 team members and the success and growth of the business, because I'm not a person who's going to stay stagnant. I want to grow.
You're
There's
also
always
emotionally
something
attached to them and their happiness.
Yes.
So
yeah,
that weighs
sure.
heavy on your heart when you're trying to come home and let go of the day. It's really hard to have that let go.
Yes.
You know?
And so I'll sit in my car. I will do some deep breathing. If that's what I feel like I need. Sometimes it's going on TikTok and watching something stupid.
Funny, yeah.
Even for 5 minutes, just to lighten my mood, because you don't want to walk into your house. And this is very important moment, right? At the end of your day, it's the first time they're seeing you since the morning. If you're walking in and you're carrying all this like burden from the day, again, they're going to reflect on your work as negative. And I don't want that for them. I want them to find their passion. So I think you need to take that moment, because you need to give your business all that energy during the day, but you also have to save some time and energy for your family.
For me, I would say that, like, you know, I could be sitting with Lily and it's the last hour of the night. We just did tubby time, and like all of a sudden, like there's an emergency happening, or like someone, you know, like recently I had someone send me a text message and they were like, feels like you haven't been giving me attention recently, or like feels like you're not like nurturing like this relationship with me. And of course I have human reactions to that, you know, like I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, like, you're not my people. Like, back off if you're sending me this text message. And I go into a physiological response where I'm like,
yes,
worried and anxious. But people dump a lot on me. You know, like this is the life I chose. I have a lot of people I have to care for. I have a lot of things coming at me all the time. So like how do I not bring it to Lily? I would say for me, my answer is definitely meditation and perspective.
Yeah.
Because like, I have to look at that individual in the fifth dimension of my world, and I have to say to myself, this individual is insecure. This individual is projecting their insecurities onto me right now, and I need to be able to remove myself from the situation and rise above. So the honest answer is sometimes it does creep in. Like for me, sometimes I do have, you know, you'll call me 5 times in a row being like, what are we doing? And then I know I need to answer you. Sometimes Lauren, my assistant, who's, you know, helping me with social media and like working on the podcast, she's asking me 6 million questions about a hook and I need to answer. And sometimes I do. And then I sometimes will stop, pause, rise above, and then ask myself, what is more important right now? This moment with my daughter, or this issue that is being presented to me in the drama of it all? Because in 10 years, will I have wanted to have been in this moment with her, or will I have wanted to dive into this drama with this individual who's projecting on me?
You know what's funny that
I love that.
when you guys are talking, I'm just thinking to myself, because obviously I'm the person who can't relate to having kids yet. And I am someone who runs a business with you.
Multiple businesses.
And regardless of having kids or not, you do a lot of self-work in business when you are running it to be better every day and to graduate from a certain feeling that you felt before. So for example, like if there was a lot of stressful things that happened in my day and I'll go home and I can't let it go, right? And I had to practice to start letting it go and waiting till tomorrow, and you know, like
waiting till tomorrow's hard.
Waiting till
Yes.
tomorrow, but I have to give myself credit. I've done a lot of that
Carly,
because
that was a big thing for you.
But then I can't give, and I have to care about my relationship with Joe, and I pretending that's my kid for a second. Obviously, it's not my kid, or like someone I need to give
all the
attention
same
to.
stuff.
It's your family unit.
Right. Like if you practice early on before you have kids, which is probably good advice from what I'm hearing from both of you, to kind of like deal with those emotions and deal with like those situations when you get home and like, you know, treating Joe like someone that like I'm actually in a relationship with and giving him my attention and giving him my love and my time and those type of things before I have kids. Like, I feel like that might be a really good practice for people because
it's coping and mindfulness.
Yeah. Because then you add an additional layer.
Yeah.
Because you also have that relationship with your partner of the kids. It probably becomes way more stressful, way different. And then you are, you know, getting the tools to kind of deal with that beforehand, before you have kids.
Yeah, well, Holly, something you said too that's a really good point, Carly, because I think we have to think about this from all perspectives of all types of listeners. But something Holly said earlier is like, you were like, sometimes I'll, instead of having a glass of wine, I'll take a deep breath in my car or I'll go on TikTok. I think it's kind of like just identifying your way of like almost drawing the line in the sand of being like, this is not going to work for me and I need to be present with my children. And presence is something I meditate on daily.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I'm constantly challenging myself to ask, how present am I in this moment? Am I in this moment? You know, be here now are words that I repeat to myself often in motherhood. Am I here right now? I could ask myself that in every moment and it challenges me more and more.
I learned that from Camille.
Yeah. Well, yes, Camille. And then Camille's very good at that, but also one of my gurus is Ram Dass.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book called Be Here Now. And it's all about the present moment. And, you know, it's like, that's all that matters. It's all we have.
It's more difficult than a lot of people realize, though. I mean,
yeah,
your
it's
brain,
hard.
It's so natural for your brain to wander, especially when you've got 150 different things on your to-do list that day.
Yes.
Right? Or at least in the back of your mind all the time.
Happens to me a lot.
A lot of times if I find myself, this is just a little me trick, if I find myself, I'm also very affectionate with my girls. And so if I feel myself wandering, like I'll get physical. I'll walk over, I'll give them a big hug and a big kiss. And like it snaps me out of that mindset of just letting myself wander or worry or think, or because what's more important than that moment, being able to give them that love.
I love that.
So I think the physical or I also do that if I'm getting, if I can feel myself getting hot over something that maybe I don't have any control of and it's not even that big of a deal, I'll walk over and give them a big squeeze.
I think that's a good tactic.
Well, their therapy too, you know?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we've covered so much. That we do have some fan questions and, you know, Carly's asked a few of them. I guess for me, one question that stood out was somebody asked, how do you manage and organize your schedule to do it all? Like, how do you make sure that you get it all in? Like practically speaking and physically in your schedule?
So I think that, and I know you have probably some fantastic answers for this. For me, I need a good night's sleep. Like you're able to get up at 4:30 and have your you time. Sleep is more important to me. Mm-hmm. When I don't have a full 7 hours, I don't know how else to explain it. I feel raw that day.
Lazy.
Yeah. So
then you have to go give yourself to your kids, your husband, your employees.
You're depleted.
That's tough.
Yes. And I want to give them as much of my energy as I can every single day.
Right.
I think it's important, not because I have to, but because I want to.
Right.
And so a good night's sleep is a really big deal. Putting my girls to bed every night when I'm not traveling, it's every night. I
get that. Me too.
Yeah.
Carly sometimes doesn't get that from me. She's like, why you put her to bed every night? I'm like, it's the gift I get of this being her mom. Like,
no, it's not that I don't get it. I just, it's fine. I get it.
Well, no,
I get it. I just think it's like, you can't put so much pressure on yourself. There are some times where I
enjoy it.
No, I know you enjoy it and I think it's wonderful. I just think there's some times where we have to handle things and that's what comes with being a business owner and that's just the truth.
I agree with both.
It just sometimes happens.
Yeah, I agree. I know. I'm like, hold on. I agree with both because there are times when now that my girls are used to it and they can verbalize everything they need now.
It must be a crazy phase.
It's a crazy phase.
I can't wait.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It just gets better and better, by the way. Every year gets better and better and better.
Can't wait.
I love it.
Well, I love your mindset because I feel like
too.
a lot of people are negative and like, it gets worse.
So you put them to bed at night.
Yeah, so I put them to bed at night. But going back to what Carly said, there are nights where I'm like, oh, I need like another hour of emails, or I have a project that I really should be getting done right now. I have finally learned to be like, tomorrow. It's It's tomorrow. It's the tomorrow.
Love a tomorrow moment.
You know, we're all lucky when we get to get up in the morning and we have that day, right? We have another day to make it right. We have another day to get things done. And the girls really enjoy our nighttime routine, which, by the way, now they're starting to get a routine. They've got their moisturizer now. They're brushing their hair. If they want waves the next day, Mom, braid my hair.
Mom, put my sleepy tie in.
Yeah.
I feel like you use Google Cal, honestly.
The simplest form of an answer for me is going to be Google Cal.
Yes.
So like I mesh my personal and professional schedule into Google Cal. So like all of my work friends can see like where I am personally during the morning too. Like, and I very accurately live by it, but I do also resonate with what you said about tomorrow, because I'm also lenient with myself. So like I had to make expectations for what my day needs to look like, what my morning routine needs to look like. But like, you know, in my pregnancy and as a mom, my doctor has told me to stop waking up so early. So I have been sleeping.
Yeah.
And like this morning I slept till 6:45, which was really late for me. And I woke up at the same time as Lily. So that meant that I didn't have, you know, my morning routine and my me time. So I will be doing that later on in the night after she goes to sleep. And I know that I need to have that every day. But, you know, speaking about like the how do I organize my schedule, I have to look at it from the airplane. Like I have to look at it from above and say like, this is how I can fit everything and everyone in. And then there's also the saying no to a lot of things.
Boundaries.
Yeah. Like I don't, if I have someone who's too needy, you know, like you're a perfect friend for me because you don't ever over ping me for too many personal things. No, it's true. Like I value that.
And I value it too.
That's a really important part of my friendship with co-business owners and people who get it. And it's like, if you repeatedly ask me to like do things that I cannot accept, I may not be able to honor you as like the type of friend you want me to be because you just don't understand my lifestyle, no matter the opinion of that. But like you and I are friends and we call each other when we need something and we're there for each other when we need to vent. But like boundary wise, like my answer when I need to say no is no. You know, so like schedule wise, I have to fit in when I know I need to fit in.
Well, that's the interesting answer, right? Because people assume that we do it all, right?
Yeah, I'm selective.
We do a lot, but we're selective with what we do. And if we have to miss a social outing or something that
social outings.
Yeah, I know, me too. But that's okay because that's not I'm not in that phase of life right now. That's not important to me.
I was just going to say there's different phases of life. When you have kids, I feel like number one priority.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, how do you organize it all and how do you manage doing it all well? I think you do the best you can.
I actually like what you said about Google Cal. I know it seems like a silly answer. It's like obvious, but it's like most people don't put their personal stuff in their schedule.
Oh no, I definitely do.
So
and
you
I
have
invite
to,
Mike.
So you have to think about that too. Like there might be anxiety of like, oh, I don't want my work people to see like where I am or what I'm doing. Like, no, be open and honest with what you need to get done.
I put my manicure in as a meeting.
As you should.
Yeah. And by the way,
I'll look at her. I'll look at her and be like, who's Daniel? Rachel. Yeah. Who you meeting
She's
with?
like, who's the meeting?
My masseuse.
And I'm like,
Thank
you know, I put Shannon as my massage therapist and I'm like, Shannon meeting. And like, that's part of my work day.
But I think people like kind of sometimes make their own guilt because they're like, I shouldn't be doing this. It's like, if you accept these things that you need to do to be the best version of yourself, like
that's been
you'll be better
thing for me.
You are absolutely right.
Not applied to self-care. Like I said, like a manicure and a pedicure, like I never feel the guilt, but work, sometimes I get the guilt.
And people always say that. They'll be like, I don't even have time to get a manicure. It's like, find it.
Oh, no. I always have time to take care of myself.
The great thing about being a girl mom too, for me, is that now I'm so lucky because I can be like, hey guys, do you want to go get?
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
And it's so,
it's a date.
And it's a relief because I probably do suffer from a little more guilt than the average person. I feel guilty all the time.
Well, you're a deep empath, Holly. Like you care very much.
I do.
About people.
I really do.
Yeah.
And someone told me recently that when they open my jewelry, they can feel the love. And it like,
that's an honor.
Actually 2 people in 1 week said that. I'm not sure what was happening with the universe, but
that's a good tagline.
It was a huge. Let's trade my call my attorney.
When you open our jewelry,
yeah,
you'll feel the love.
Call a new attorney.
Call my attorney. And moving on. Hashtag business owner.
So, but what an honor. That's the word. I kept saying, like, I was brought to tears by that. What is my point? Oh, empath and feeling guilty. I've learned to deal with it. I think that moms, we're always going to feel it, but the better we are, the more we can shine our light and be bright, it's better for the people around us. Nobody wants to constantly be with someone who's sad or stressed, and I know that's maybe not what anyone wants to hear, but you've got to find the light in every single day.
I don't want that. I agree with that.
But the constant learning lesson too for people is like, it requires more work, not less work, to get the things that you want out of life and give the kids what you want.
You know, a lot of planning.
Yeah, like it's not like you just like let these things happen. Like you plan time with Lily. You make sure you have the food in the crock pot in the morning if you're not going to be there. Like
I've got another good tip.
We've said flow though, so I just don't want to be contradicting because we're like, go with the flow, but then we're also saying plan and put the work in.
But you said go with the flow with like issues that arise or problems, or if Lily doesn't want to go to sleep right now and wants lunch, and then she was supposed to have it at 12.
Right. So you're
like
saying don't resist.
Yes.
But plan. What's the old
don't
saying?
resist, persist.
Yeah.
But plan the things that, like, if you have soccer practice at 3:00, you got to plan that. You can't forget about that.
Right.
Yeah. If you have Lily's birthday party and you want to do a cake smash, like, you got to plan that. But
don't resist the natural. Don't resist how your child's going to react to something or how the day
that makes sense.
can go.
So what were you going to say?
I was going to say just a couple of practical tips too is find little moments like in the mornings a couple times a week, Lex and Lila and I play Bananagrams. It's 7 minutes.
What is Bananagrams?
It's the best game. It's like a speed version of Scrabble.
Cool.
Which obviously doesn't apply to a baby.
Love that.
But it's quick. Or when I was, when the girls were really little, there's this game called Spot It. Do you guys know Spot It?
No.
Oh, it's the best. So if you need to go to a restaurant, instead of putting your child on screen time or trying to entertain them,
we love screen time.
We do too. But Spot It's this little round canister game where you like flip it over and you have to spot the items. And my friend Sarah, shout out to Sarah Cazalt because she is the most amazing mother. But she told me that like maybe
Sarah
5
Cazalt.
years ago. Yeah.
Much love,
Sarah.
girl.
So Spot It. But like there's all these little games you can play that are quick. They're going to take 5 minutes out of your day, 10 minutes out of your day, but they make your child feel engaged with, connected, fun, happy.
Yeah.
You know, those little things, you can make them work. You can find them.
I think that the theme here is like keeping you alive and happy and well and passion filled and hobby filled, but also finding the quality in the middle with your family by planning, but also knowing when to let go. It's kind of like the theme of today's conversation and the takeaways for me is like the balance of it all and making sure that like it's just, you know, I read a lot of Taoism books and one of the biggest things in Taoism that I don't obviously know the beautiful words that it was listed, but it talks about how water is the softest element and water flows, you know? But the interesting part about water is that it can erode mountains.
It's powerful.
It's very powerful. So the softest element in the world has the ability to over time erode a mountain, you know?
I love
so
that.
like the concept of flowing like water in motherhood is something that I find a lot of comfort in. It's just like every day is a new day and the presence of it all. And, you know, I think though I'm working on my mom guilt every day. And I think it's something that may never go away just because it's rooted in love.
But I love
Same.
both of you have like, from an outsider perspective, just listening to both of you, like you have the Bananagrams, you have Lily's bedtime.
Yep.
You have like,
We listen to the same song every single night before bed.
Right. And
I
like,
love that.
But like you have, like there is a portion of routine with these
Yeah,
things that like you
routine.
guys make your own with your children. I love that.
I think routine is my whole life.
It's important too, and you have to listen to your intuition and listen to your children too, even if they can't speak yet. You know, I mean, it's body language. It's seeing how they react to certain things. It's feeling that alongside them to be able to nurture them the best.
Yes.
And whether you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, at the end of the day, we have the most important job in the world.
And hard. It's a hard one.
And hard.
Yeah.
Definitely challenging, but we're raising the next generation of humans that are going to hopefully take care of this earth. And And one thing I did forget to mention, I was thinking about, as we're talking about being working moms and how difficult the job of being a mom is and having a job, but also stay-at-home moms have been a huge help, one or two in particular for me, being like, hey, I have time. Do you want me to run Lexa to gymnastics?
Love them.
Or run? And that's so wonderful to...
Well, it's joining together in motherhood.
Yes.
And that's why I'm never against any mom. I say don't have a typed birth plan.
Right.
I do have a feeling about that. But regarding just moms in general, I believe we all have something we can learn from each other, because there is no manual, no matter how many books you can read. It's just intuition and gut and emotion, and it's just feeling it out. So you're that stay-at-home mom that's able to have your back, she's
huge.
A huge part of your life. I mean, I'm sure one day I will really value someone who does that for me, and I hope I can do that for somebody else. But it's just joining forces and having each other's backs.
It's going to be me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be me. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I think that there's been a lot of great conversation in this. And I think, I look up to you as a mother too. You really do it all. And I think one takeaway for me is the tomorrow thing. I love that. As a CEO, it's it can wait till tomorrow. Or in a job, it can wait till tomorrow, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And communicating that and just being mindful.
And if
in
it
your
can't,
motherhood.
get somebody else to fix it.
Delegate
To elevate, honey. Just delegate. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
No, I thought
As a
that was
takeaway?
great. Good perspectives.
What was
from
your
all.
takeaway as not being a mother yet?
I think the biggest thing, like I said before, was just preparing for motherhood. It's not just, I think it's, yes, go with the flow, but it's also work on yourself now to be better so you have the tools when you do have a child.
Preparing is smart advice,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I like that.
Prepare well.
Well, Holly, you know how we feel about you.
I love you.
We love you.
Thank you for being with us today and for, I feel like you speak from my future a little bit, so I appreciate your insight. I'd love to learn. So thank you for being here, your time, and, just always being a great friend. We love you.
Thank you. I love you guys.
And why don't you just tell everybody where they can find your beautiful business?
You can find us everywhere at Dune Jewelry. So dunejewelry.com, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, we're everywhere.
Yep.
And you guys can
And the Caribbean.
You can go to
all over the Caribbean.
You can have
Find
a
us in
special
the
place
Caribbean.
in mind that means something to you and sentimental, and you can get sand from that beach, bring it to you guys, and you guys can make some beautiful jewelry. It's
And to
wonderful.
take it even
Absolutely.
further, one thing I didn't realize after the whole sand thing is you could have somebody's ashes or flowers
Absolutely.
from your wedding or any sentimental,
So cool.
anything that's sentimental to you. You
Thank
can
you.
send into Dune Jewelry. You guys will custom make any piece of jewelry. It's the ultimate gift. Again, it's not a shameless plug. I only bring people on here that I really believe in their brand, but that's you work so hard at keeping the authenticity of that service for people, and that's hard to scale. So I think people need to understand that that's
It's
a
handmade.
challenge.
It's handmade.
you.
It's
Yeah.
handmade and special. Every piece is special. So definitely
guys.
check out dunejewelry.com. And we love you so much. Over and out.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh God, I think we've created an outro.